Hello viewers and welcome to my channel, Jackson's Journal. My name is Matthew Jackson. Thank you for joining me today. Today's video is going to be a rebuttal video to a video that a gentleman by the name of Corey Minor uploaded back on January 19th, 2025 on his channel called Smart Christian Channel, and the title of the video that I'm rebutting is Jesus Did Not Return, and Here's Why. And that's why the title of my video is Jesus Did No Doubt Return, and Here's Why. So it's a rebuttal video. And but before I get into that, please check out some of my other videos on this channel, Jackson's Journal. Please like, share, comment, and above all, subscribe. If you could do those things for me, I really would appreciate it. Okay, now, this video that I'm rebutting, entitled Jesus Did Not Return, and Here's Why, it's a 44-minute video between the host, Corey Minor, and a gentleman by the name of Greg David Chacon. And I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Greg. If I didn't, I apologize. But basically, they were debating preterism. And Greg was defending the preterist position, where Corey was defending the futurist position. And it was an informal debate, and I call it an informal debate because generally in a formal debate you have a moderator who acts as a referee and timekeeper. And it's more formalized. You have a debate proposition that you've got to discuss, and there was really no formal proposition presented in the debate. They were just talking. So it was a casual debate or informal, and of course it was very cordial. Nobody got ugly, nobody cussed at each other or yelled or name called or anything like that. It was just a good, honest gentleman's disagreement, which is the way it should be when you have two believers getting together in an intramural debate. Well, whether you're in an intramural debate or not, you should always be polite in a debate. The moment you get impolite is when you lose the debate. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it was good. It was good. Now, of course, I think Greg held his own quite well and got the better of Corey. But again, I'm a preterist. I see things the same way as Greg does, so naturally I'm going to be biased towards Greg being the winner of that debate. Now, for those of you who are futurists and see things like Corey does, you're probably going to think Corey won the debate. So declaring the winner here is a little subjective, okay? But anyway, basically there are two things that Corey said, and it started in the 42nd minute of his video after Greg had already made his arguments and drew his conclusions, and Greg did not have the opportunity to respond to these two things. So I'm going to respond to these two things, okay? So, like I said, in the 42nd minute of the video, Corey was closing out the video, and he said the following, and I quote, this is his words exactly. And you can go look at this video. Go watch his video, Jesus Did Not Return, and Here's Why, if you don't believe me. Quote, the preterist view, thankfully, I say, is in the minority, which is true. It is to me tantamount to the Jehovah's Witnesses view that Jesus returned in 1914 or 1919 or whenever it was. End of quote. Yes, he actually said that. He actually said that the Jehovah's Witnesses claimed that Jesus returned in 1914. Now, to give Corey a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here, he had been on his live stream podcast for over 3 hours. He was a little tired, okay? So I understand that you make Freudian slips when you're tired. I get that, okay? But let's set the record straight, okay? The Watchtower Society had made up to 7 predictions, false predictions that did not happen. They did predict that Jesus would return in 1878, 1881, 1914, 1918, 1925, and 1975. And then they predicted that the Battle of Armageddon would occur in the 20th century. Okay, we're in the 21st century now, so obviously that's 25 years overdue at least. Okay, so those are, but again, the Jehovah's Witnesses made predictions into the future. They never said that Jesus did return in 1914. If they really thought that Jesus had actually returned in 1914, then they wouldn't have made another prediction for him to return in 1918, then 1925, and 1975. So obviously they don't believe that Jesus had returned in 1914, even though they had made that prediction. Preterists, on the other hand, we've never predicted that Jesus will return in a future date. We've taken 70 AD and say he returned on that date, and we make a biblical argument to support that premise, okay, by using hermeneutics and exegesis, something that Jehovah's Witnesses don't do, okay? They are a cult. Cults oftentimes will construct a theological premise and then go cherry pick Bible verses that support their premise by using proof texting. That is called taking a deductive approach to the scriptures. Preterists, we do not take a deductive approach to scriptures. We take an inductive approach to scriptures. Inductive approach is you follow the evidence and take it where it leads you, then you draw your conclusions. All right? So, preterists believe that scripture should be used to interpret scripture. You don't use today's headlines to interpret scripture and what's going on in current events and in the news. That's the last thing you should be using when you interpret scripture. You use scripture to interpret scripture. Okay, enough said about that. So, Corey, if you're watching this video, there is a profound difference between the preterist point of view and the Jehovah's Witnesses point of view concerning eschatology. And if you cannot tell the difference between a preterist and Jehovah's Witnesses, then that would say something about you. That would reflect poorly on you. So, I think there's enough said about that. So let me move on to the second point. Now, there are other points that Corey made earlier in the video while he was sparring with Greg, but there was one more point that he made in the post log that I would like to respond to. After he talked about how the preterist view is tantamount to the Jehovah's Witness view, he listed 10 things that must take place in order for Jesus to return according to Matthew 23 and 24. And he cited 10 things, and it's item number 8 in particular that I'd like to cite. And he quoted, "Sun darkened, moon won't give light, stars fall from the sky." And of course he's referencing Matthew 24 verse 29 when he said that, because in that scripture it says that the sun and the moon and the stars will fall and not give light, because Jesus said that. Okay, and I have been in other exchanges with other people who are futurists that claimed, well, Matthew 24 couldn't have possibly happened in 70 AD because the sun and the moon and the stars and didn't fall, so therefore didn't happen. Well, when Jesus said that, he wasn't speaking literally. He was speaking metaphorically and hyperbolically, because he was drawing on the same style that the Old Testament prophets used. Not only Jesus, but Paul, Peter, and John, when they wrote on eschatology in the New Testament, they used the Hebraic imagery that the that the prophets used, okay? And so when the prophets talked about the sun, moon, and stars, they were also speaking metaphorically and hyperbolically. And this wasn't meant to be taken literally, okay? So that's where they drew their inspiration from. Now, if you have a pencil or pen or paper handy, I would encourage you to pause this video, go get your pen and paper, because I'm going to give you 6 scriptures taken from the Old Testament that use the sun, moon, and stars in the same metaphoric, hyperbolic way as Jesus did in Matthew 24, verse 29. So whenever you're ready, here are some of the examples that you can go look up for yourself. And it's better if I give you the scriptures, you look it up for yourself. That way you can make up your own mind. You don't have to take my word for it. Okay. Isaiah 13, verses 9 and 10. Isaiah 34, verse 4. Ezekiel 32, verse 7. Joel chapter 2, verse 10. Joel chapter 2, verse 31. And Joel chapter 3, verse 15. So when you read those verses, Joel is looking, Joel, but Isaiah and Ezekiel too, they were all using the sun, moon, and stars in a very hyperbolic, metaphorical context. And it wasn't meant to be taken literally. Jesus was doing the same thing. Remember, one key thing to remember from an exegetical standpoint is that sun, moon, and stars, that what did they represent? They represented political power. Old Covenant Israel was a political power. The Old Covenant system, the temple, Jerusalem, all that represented a political power of sorts. It fell that day in 70 AD. That's what Jesus was talking about. Matthew 24 is talking about the end of the Old Covenant age, of Old Covenant Israel. Matthew 24 is not talking about the end of human history. Okay? It was not some catastrophic, cataclysmic, time-ending, earth-burning event where Jesus would appear as a 5'6" Jewish man riding in on a cumulus cloud. That was never the point. Okay? The New Testament never said that Jesus would physically return in the same physical body that he had when he came on his first advent. That is conjecture. And I can go on in subsequent videos and break this down for you, but I'm going to go ahead and call it a video. And thank you for watching. And again, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. If you have any disagreements, all disagreements, please make a comment in the comment section. Questions or comment, disagreements are welcome. All I ask in return is that you be polite and cordial. Other than that, we're all good. Okay. Thank you for watching. God bless.